If you haven't caught it yet, make sure you go back and watch parts 1 and part 2 of How CSI Invests. This is part 3. This is an excerpt from one of our CSI lives we do every single week over on Semi Insider.
Yeah, make sure you check it out. It's not just a bunch of collection of articles that we provide. It's more than just the weekly Q&As. We also are building software and a new set of tools to help you sort through and make sense of the tidal wave of data that is confronting you every day as an investor. We truly believe this, and we're putting our efforts into making this a reality. But in the day and age that we live right now, it's not about just getting more data and access to more information. It's about building a process to know what data and what information you need to bother with in the first place. And we believe it can be pretty simple. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it as simple as possible for you.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button on this video, chipstockinvestor.com. And we also have a free newsletter. Link to that in the description below. Check it out. Let's get to it. Let's talk about some quantitative metrics that we go through when we're looking at a new company. We're going to focus on the quantitative portion of the investment thesis checklist. And we'll look at it through the lens of Micron.
Here's a look at the investment thesis checklist on the research dashboard using Micron. We have some notes put in trying to define the revenue for a company, in this case, a memory manufacturer. We also provided you some extra questions you can ask to try to classify a company's revenue and try to figure out how you might classify that in your portfolio against other companies that you already own. But as we just mentioned, you want what you think you know qualitatively about a business to be backed up by what you can find in the financials themselves. So let's do it. This is why this is part 3. We've defined what Micron does, how they make money. Let's see if we can back this up with the quantitative part of the thesis checklist.
So revenue, is it industry average or better? How is the operating margin, free cash flow, per share profit, and the balance sheet? Those are the metrics we're looking at primarily. Let's take a look at that first one. This first chart has total revenues in green, orange is operating profit, and blue is free cash flow.
So what do you think? Can we check off the first box? Revenue, is it participating in the secular growth theme?
Check.
Especially in the last year. I don't know, I feel like we just need to say this at some point, but there are a small army of the social media commentators that like to say that we missed these takeoffs, but there was a video in June of last year. I remember clearly a lot of fretting over the Micron stock dip last June. Is it going to come back? I think you pretty clearly stated, Kasey, at the end of a video, we're probably going to see new all-time highs for Micron stock the second half of 2025.
But we didn't say we were buying it, and so that means we missed it.
But this is the thought experiment. If a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, did it make a sound? This is like some people saying, if I didn't hear the tree fall, then nobody else did either.
Then CSI definitely didn't.
No one heard it.
Anyways, big green check mark. They are definitely participating in a secular growth trend right now. Revenue is through the roof. Operating profits, I think we can confidently also give that a green check mark. And free cash flow, just fine as well.
It's lagging behind, remember, because they're building those fabs all over the place. But yeah, first 3 boxes are a check.
How about the per share growth metrics?
Per share profit also through the roof.
Great lines there. We can give that a green check mark. And then a look at Micron's balance sheet. Total cash is in green, long-term debt is in pink.
They are net cash positive again, and that's going to continue. They can't repurchase so much stock until later this year because of the CHIPS Act award, some restrictions on there, but what they've done instead is just pay off debt. By the time this cycle is over, I would personally hope to see Micron sitting on lots of cash and basically little to no debt on balance. That would be really fantastic to help them weather eventually, at some point in the future, a downturn.
Okay, so we're combining what we talked about last week with what we're talking about this week. Micron, it's definitely in a secular growth trend, but there is a relatively short sales cycle, which we gave it an X. Does it have a niche advantage? No. It does not. But when we look at all of these other items, we can give it a green check mark.
Yeah, which is why we have Micron position as part of our memory basket. We left the industry average revenue unchecked here because in the last year or two, They're definitely participating in the secular growth trend. But if you look back over the last decade, Micron's cyclicality has actually meant that it is on average not participating in the secular growth theme. So this is an open question. When average selling prices start to ease up, when the growth of ASPs start to slow, let's see how these memory companies are able to manage their revenue growth longer term. Micron was just an example. The investment thesis checklist, we have 2 of them available now. More asset-heavy businesses or asset-light businesses, like semis versus software, as an example.